All right, everybody, thank you for joining me. This beautiful, beautiful Mother's Day, Friday, May 10th, 2024. In your outposts on the West Coast. Now, you've seen this model in the background, kind of like off on the side or behind something else. Tonight we're going to talk about it. We're going to delve into the subject of early sunset models. This is an early sunset models. Just like everything else, there's an early sunset and a later sunset. Same company, same thing. It's just that how many years they have spanned being in business. And the early stuff usually is interesting, very pleasant, well built, and just a blast to discover that stuff like this existed before the stuff I am used to purchasing ever came about. So and we got the original box to this, so let's put this thing down here real quick. I'll attach the microphone to my lapel. As we casually walk around here in my workshop up to the workbench, cruising to some cool music, laid back. All right, that is so cool. That's Jimmy Dorsey, guys. Jimmy Dorsey and his awesome band. Okay, so let's turn on. Before we start, let me say hi, like always, to the following new subscriber, Stephen or Stephen McDonald 26. I want to say hi to the following people, like always, the great Freeman JPLK. I want to welcome aboard, if he happens to be watching, Elmo's Weed. I've been posting a lot of construction videos, and with questions in my mind, what am I looking at? This YouTube fellow member of ours, piped in with a couple of comments, which cleared up a lot of things. His name, I want to say hi and thank you to Mark Beckelhaupt. And I want to say hi to the following guy who's got an interesting YouTube shorts with a I think it's a 55 Chevy Bel Air or something like that. But I want to say hi to Saul Customs. He's a good guy because he loves the band, the Deep South. And, or the Dead South. I'm sorry, the Dead South. But, and like always, I want to say hi to Tokiko Skeleton, wherever you happen to be, young man. And don't forget your co-workers, your brothers and sisters who made us who we are today. But there you go. Following guys, excuse my messy and sloppy writing. And here we go. Let's turn on some lights. So once upon a time in the late 80s, like I said, Sunset offered 2-rail only brass models that rivaled Overland Westside PSC in both the exact same construction. Actually, they were made by the same company. Only these were made and imported under the Sunset Models label by Scott and Mort Mann and the Mann family, which O-Scale community owes a deep, deep, deep thank you, including myself, everybody. I'm a huge fan of Sunset Models. Thank you, Sunset Models, for everything you have done for the old scale community. We all thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You guys have just been an amazing, amazing trip. But let's check this out real quick. You go to a train show, you're walking about, all of a sudden you see this box you've never seen before. So let's go ahead and show that real quick. And there it is. There's the box. You've never seen a box like this before. It kind of looks familiar. Yeah, this is the early coffin-sized boxes that the early Sunset stuff used to come in. And there is your early label. So it says Sunset Models, Campbell, California, Old Scale Union Pacific Early Coal Version Challenger 4664, made in Korea by Sam Hongsa. So if you see a box like this and it piques your interest, go back to that dealer's table and say, "Hi, sir, I'm really interested in that. Can you open the box? Let me see what you got in there." And they'll be more than happy to check that out with you, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. But we got the box here, and actually we got two of these. I believe I have a painted one back here somewhere, and we'll do a video on that down the road here a little bit. So let's go ahead and get rid of this box real quick. Oops. Oh, no, you're not supposed to see that. Hold on a second. Hold on. That's a mistake. Okay. Ah, gosh darn, the box is still there. Hold on one second. Okay, now we're back. Ooh, okay, so let's get back to this subject real quick. This model was from the late 80s, so you're going to see a little bit of tarnish starting to already come through the clear coat lacquer finish from the brass and stuff. It's no big deal. Usually you can, if it is you start to feel it and it's bumpy, you can always bring it down with a real fine steel wool or sandpaper, address it before you want to paint it. Otherwise, usually it's no big deal. You can paint right over it unless it's become real big and it's become an issue. Let's show you guys the underneath of this beautiful model. Now the running gear for these early Sunset products or any Sunset products is usually not an issue. It's well built drive and running the gear towers and the motor and all that stuff. And usually if there's a little problem, you can tweak it a little bit and work it out. It's no big deal, easy to work on. But I'll tell you something about Sunset. If it is an issue, if it's a broken gear or something like that, or stripped gear, contact Sunset. The guys there are actually pretty great. And if they don't send you the part for free, they'll probably usually charge you just a few bucks in postage and get the part to you. That's one of the amazing things about Sunset models to this day. Let's see here. Now this type of early tender, this is the Union Pacific tender we're all used to. See it behind the big boy today, and then Challengers actually. But at one time, not the big boys, but the Challengers all came with this shorty 6-wheel tender. And you'll hear people refer to it as a 6-wheel tender or the short tender or the early tender. And Union Pacific decided to, when they wanted the Challengers to run with the big boys, with big giant long freight trains leaving Cheyenne and going over Sherman Hill with no helpers, they had to have bigger tenders. So they went ahead and replaced these tenders on the Challengers, not the big boys. The big boys came with the bigger tenders from the factory. But they went ahead and got additional tenders from the factory, and they equipped their Union Pacific Challengers with those bigger tenders, replacing the smaller 6-wheel or early version or short version tenders. And they didn't scrap all of them. They're still around if you know where to look. And I've got pictures of some I want to share with you guys. We'll kill it, right? Okay, so there's one right there. That's our short, early version 6-wheel tender. They added some handrails and platforms on top, and what they use them for is auxiliary water cars, or what they call auxiliary water bottles on the excursion trains that are running today. They usually got a couple, usually got about 3 tenders total when they do that. There's another one. Oops. Sorry about that. There's another one. And why is my camera spinning around like that? Okay, we'll fix that. Okay. And here's another one. Oh man, this is too much. But okay, we're here. Starting to look familiar? Yeah, so they didn't just shit can them. These were lying around, parked on abandoned sidings, rusting away, all up and down the Union Pacific for many, many years. And I remember here in the late 90s or maybe early 2000s, Steve Lee, big Steve Lee from Union Pacific, in an interview, he said the Union Pacific was going all up and down their systems, and everywhere they would find old equipment, they would rescue it, ship it back to Cheyenne to see if they could use it down the road for whatever reason. But they were no longer going to leave their vintage retro stuff just lying in the weeds, abandoned like they had been doing. And there's another picture. Okay. So, they're still around if you know where to look. Railroads are resourceful. Railroads are the original green companies, recycling and all that good stuff. We've all heard the stories. Let me see here. Interesting subject. Interesting topic. Let me turn on these lights real quick. Okay. These lagging clamps on top of the boiler were used to hold the two sheet metal. The smooth stuff here is all sheet metal sides, and then the lagging clamps, you bolt them together and they stay on the, I didn't do that so you guys could see. So, kind of like they'd wrap them and tie them up on top. And that's why you have these lagging clamps on top. These boiler bands were also used to hold everything in place. They also had lagging clamps. I didn't know that. And on the Union Pacific, I just saw pictures of the recent Union Pacific bib boy as it's being painted, the bodywork they were doing on her. You have the lagging clamps on top still to this day, but these boiler bands also had their own lagging clamps. They had one, and they had them right here. Literally. Let's see if I have a marker. Yeah, we got a marker. Well, guess I don't have a marker handy. Yes, I do. So, they have them on the side here. Real odd. But it's a real neat feature. I learned something new this week. And if you want to add that extra detail to your model, if you're building something and you're really proud, you want to add as much detail as possible, and that piques your interest, I suggest looking at the latest pictures of Union Pacific running around the country. Union Pacific Big Boy 4014. This is a Challenger. Let's pretend this is the Big Boy. Union Pacific 4014 was parked out here in Pomona, California for many, many years. They used to have the firebox door open. The cab was open. I would go in there. They had a light bulb, one dim little weak light bulb way deep inside the firebox. And I would crawl through the firebox door and go all the way inside deep into the firebox. And it's just like the Union Pacific promotional movies they used to do in the 50s. They would advertise that the firebox and the Big Boy was as big as your living room. And they're correct. It's as big as your average simple living room, except it's not as high as a living room. So I would have to be crouched in there with that light bulb. It's not quite 4 foot high. So, and it's full of dirt. It's full of trash. It's full of beer cans. There's condoms everywhere, graffiti, dead cats. There's fish skeletons. I'm sure they cleaned it up, right? It's running around, but that's what that was out there in Pomona, California. I had a beautiful girlfriend at the time. We would go out here, this is in the 90s, early 90s, and she'd wear her tiny little mini skirt and she'd climb all over the Big Boy 4014, and we'd take pictures and stuff. And I got those pictures here somewhere, and I'm going to bring them out one day so we can check out 4014, and we'll all get a treat by checking out my then girlfriend. But I get a kick out of it because, yeah, Florentino Rebuilding Company, yeah, once upon a time, even he was a hit with the ladies long ago. But that's going to be a little topic as I end this video here, actually very soon. I got dinged really, really bad, and I think I got bullied by YouTube today. And they're always giving me a hard time and punishing me and throttling back my comments and subscribers and stuff like that. But it's their playground. I got to play by their rules. But That's why when we were showing you the box tops here, and you saw something pop out in there, that was my reply to YouTube. Go screw yourselves, YouTube. But I think we're done. Let's see here. Okay. Now, yeah, let's go here. Let's erase this. Okay, let's come here. All right. All right. What I want to say is the following. We're about the same age. I'm pushing you guys, getting your tools out, and let's start working on stuff because I guess this is the time of year, the time in our lives when we were supposed to be golfing or out on our yacht or living in our chalet castle somewhere in France and traveling the world with the jet set and shit. And even though we were successful and we did great and we raised a family and kids and all that good stuff, or maybe we didn't, maybe we were divorced, or maybe we couldn't have kids, or maybe we raised someone else's kids to because they loved you, and you in return you wanted to raise them so they could be decent human beings. Or maybe you worked for the same company all your life and got your pension. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you were on disability. Maybe you hurt your back, whatever. Anyways, maybe you were extremely successful, like my buddy Ed, the late Ed Campbell, who passed away, and yet he wasn't happy, and he would tell me that all the time. And he had, I told you guys, a multimillionaire, but he'd be here with me all the time. What is it about that? It's society today treats, if you don't fit a certain box that they have checked off, the social media, social media influencers who run all that fucking bullshit, if you don't meet a certain box that they have checked off for you, then to them you're automatically considered a disposable human being, and that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. And they're gonna find out when they get old. Not that they did anything to me and stuff. It's just I see the ugly comments on YouTube and the ugly people, and then I see hardworking blue-collar Americans that have been abandoned by the president or our politicians, our congressmen, our bosses, our wives, our ex-wives, our ex-girlfriends, our kids. So because you didn't wind up on that golf course in your yacht flying all over the country, that's not how you judge success. You raised a family, you raised kids, you did what you had to do, and you worked, you provided. You got up early before the sun came up. You came home way after the sun came down every day to put food on the table and raise a family. So, you know what success is? We dropped our passions, everything we loved. We dropped that potential rock and roll career we were going to have, or going to college, or left the military early, or joined the military, or that awesome girlfriend, we let her go because we had to go to work and we dumped her, or on and on and on. There's different reasons. You guys know what I'm talking about. It didn't happen because we did it or we planned it or that's the way it had to be. That's not what happened. We as men, as we leave the teenage years and we become men and we join the workforce and all that stuff, young men, now we have a daunting responsibility placed on our laps to raise a family or bring up some babies, some kids, marry, all that good stuff. And what we did, this is where I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Nobody who does this is a loser or didn't fulfill what others think life should be. They dug in their spikes at home plate and they said, okay, throw me the pitch. I'm up to bat. And they took care of what they had to take care of, the responsibilities of life. And as long as you did that, you are a success. Now, we have that empty feeling. Some of us have that empty feeling here at the end. I think it's just because the people we grew up with, the coworkers, friends, and all that are gone, or have faded away, or have dwindled down in numbers. And that's a lonely feeling. And you look at the sun setting, and it matches your life. And then you have a cool cat like Bob Seger come along, and me talking what I'm talking and showing, leaving a video record of how I roamed the earth at one time through my hobbies, a wonderful world of my hobbies. And then Bob singing, but he sings the perfect songs. He's literally singing just for you, because his songs match how you're feeling right now. But he's telling, hey, we did what we had to do. We raised what we had to raise. We would have done it no different if we had to do it all over again. You are a success. We are a success.
Stood there boldly.
Now this is our playtime.
Sweating in the sun. Felt like a million.
We earned it.
Felt like number one.
We worked our butts off for this
Height
year.
of summer. I'd never felt that strong. Like a rock.
All right, you all, let's just check out the model. You all take care.
I was 18.
And like always,
Didn't have a care.
you all have a blessed week.
Working for peanuts. Not a dime to spare. But I was leaning. Solid everywhere. Like a rock. My hands were steady. My eyes were clear and bright. My walk had purpose. My steps were quick and light. And I held firm to what I felt was right. Like a rock. Like a rock. I was strong as I could be. Like a rock. Nothing ever got to me. Like a rock. I was something to see. Like a rock. And I stood arrow straight, unencumbered by the weight of all these hustlers and their schemes. I stood proud, I stood tall, high above it all. I still believed in my dreams. "20 years now, where'd they go? 20 years, I don't know. I sit and I wonder sometimes where they've gone. And sometimes late at night, oh, when I'm bathed in the firelight, the moon comes calling a ghostly white, and I recall like a rock, standing arrow straight, like a rock, charging from the gate.